Welcome back, my dudes. I was sitting here coding today and I got a notification from Steam that one of my D&D map making apps has finally hit early access, and thinking about D&D is more fun than work. So of course I jumped on Steam and snatched up Canvas of Kings. I gave it a go and I just wanted to share some of my initial thoughts in case anybody else out there was planning on picking it up. But before we get started, I purchased Canvas of Kings with my own money. I have never had a conversation with the dev, so this is a completely unbiased, unsponsored look at Canvas of Kings. So let's talk about it. Performance-wise, it's lightweight. I didn't see any major load on my computer. When I first opened it, there was a 10 to 15 second delay, a little bit of lag, but I attribute that to some sort of housekeeping on the first load. On subsequent loads, it didn't give me any trouble at all. The developer here does a pretty good job of keeping the UI simple, clean, and to the point. Creating your first map is pretty intuitive, and if you've ever used a map maker available on Steam, then you know that intuitive is not always a given. A lot of them are extremely complex. It works well full screen and in window mode, and the UI seems to scale well with, resizing, which if you ask any developer is not a given. That's not exactly easy to do. Now, most of the map makers that you see available on Steam are done by solo developers. And when you're the solo developer on a project, you tend to get tunnel vision. You tend to see everything exactly as the developer sees it. So something that's easy for you is not necessarily easy for your users, and you just can't understand why. However, the developer for Canvas of King does a pretty good job of keeping things simple, keeping buttons where you would expect them to be. Even if he's missing some commonly expected features like Control-Z to undo, or really undo at all. Drawing roads and creating forests is really fluid once you get the hang of it, so no complaints there. The app seems to be pretty smart too. It doesn't just put a tree in the middle of a road. Assets, however, are pretty sparse. And the method of choosing between them by hovering over them and waiting for the right one to pop up is kind of a terrible way of doing it. But that's what early access is about. It's about figuring these kind of things out. When you zoom in really close, you can see this really cool effect where they're animating the drawings. Unfortunately, there's not a way to export a video file currently in the app, so this is really just for your benefit while you're designing your map. I believe, based on some of the conversations I had with some of the Discord users, that this is in the roadmap, so we can expect it to happen eventually. It's important to keep in mind that what you see with this app currently is what you get. The app can do the things that it shows in the Steam video ad, but not much past that. For example, it doesn't have any real way to do a dungeon currently, or any type of advanced interiors. And most important to remember here is that this app just got released in early access on Steam, and this is very much an early access app. The app feels very limited in assets and in functionality. The UI is a little bit clunky in some places, and other places it excels. And it is for sure lacking documentation and tutorials. So if you're going to jump into Canvas of Kings today, understand that you're paying a reasonable price for a map maker, and then you're basically joining the development team. That is what early access is all about. You get the software and then you get to work with the developers giving feedback, and they use that feedback to continue to build out the app. So if you do get it, jump on the Discord with them. Give them the feedback. Get involved. Let your opinions be heard. He'll hear them, and then he's going to continue to make the app better and better. But if you're somebody that's expecting this app to be out of the box useful to you, I'm sorry, in its current state, this isn't really good for much yet. Sure, you could probably make some kind of interesting village maps, some nice farms, some forests, but past that, it really doesn't have much more going for it. But that doesn't mean it won't. And with all that said, the art is kind of fascinating. I mean, it's a bold decision to go with a grayscale map versus all the beautiful color maps that we usually see. And I kind of dig it. I dig the simplicity of the maps. The design of them makes it to where the maps themselves serve more as a reference and not the whole story. By eliminating all those extra details and left with just the basics, you players are forced to think a little bit. Theater of the mind. So go out there and give it a go if you want to support an indie developer, and you understand that this app is not ready for prime time. Just know that it's going to have some kinks along the way, and I'm sure that developer fully intends to work them out. Alright, that's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.
This I give you now, trusting that you will protect it with your very life.
I will.
Hold this.